Hello BookTube, welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and this is my final summer wrap-up. Today I'm going to be showing you the audiobooks that I listened to in July and August. Now I have already done 3 other wrap-ups for the books I read in July and August and divided up by genre, and then I had done a separate wrap-up of my June reading. So real quick before I start the audiobooks, I kind of did a little summary. Now I've only been booktubing since July, and so just in the time that I started making videos, my reading has just increased so much, and I'm so excited about it. In June I read 6 books and I listened to 5 audiobooks for a total of 11 books. In July I read 11 books. One of those was a children's storybook, which I did a review of that my friend wrote, and then I listened to 4 audiobooks for a total of 15 books. And then in August I read 15 physical books, and I listened to 4 audiobooks for a total of 19 books. That's a total for the summer of 44 books and an average of about 15 books per month. So I am just on a roll, and I'm so excited because I don't think I've ever read that much in a single month in my lifetime. So I am just thrilled that BookTube has given me the motivation. Of course, we had TBR Takedown 2.0 in July and BookTubeathon in August. And right now I'm reading the Sunshine State Young Reader Award nominees. So all of those things are propelling me to read more and giving me reading goals. I'm very task oriented, so when I set myself some goals, I usually will work very hard to accomplish those. So I'm really excited about what I have done this summer, and I hope that I can continue that pace that I've set. Alright, so the audiobooks that I listened to over the summer. Now this is the physical copy, but I listened to this on audio. This is A Texas Sky by Lori Wick. This is the second in the Yellow Rose trilogy. I mentioned the first one in my June wrap-up, and this is the second one. I did listen to this in my car, so I had it on cassette tape because that's what works in my car. So I did enjoy the book. Again, the same goes for this one as the first one. I did not enjoy the narrator particularly. He didn't seem to have a good grasp on how I perceived the female characters to be. I perceived them as being very strong, and you know, they were strong Texas women. They had to be hardy. They were out on the prairie. He just made them sound weak, so I didn't particularly care for it on audio. So I might read the third one in physical book. This is the most recent audiobook that I've listened to in my car. It is also the third in a series. It's the Morning Shade Mysteries by Lori Copeland. This is called A Case of Nosy Neighbors. I will probably do a full review of the entire series at some point, but these are just really cute, really fun. They are Christian-based mysteries, so they're very light. There's no murder. These little mysteries are kind of community mysteries that take place in a small town, and an 87-year-old woman is the person who is trying to solve the mysteries, and she's hilarious. So I recommend them completely. The first one is called A Case of Bad Taste. I also finished, finally, Landline by Rainbow Rowell. I mentioned in earlier videos that I was listening to this. I was trying to listen to this in my house, and because I have a CD player in the kitchen, it is open to the rest of the house. So I had a hard time during the summer finding time that my kids were not around to listen to it, because it has some pretty bad language in it. A lot of the F word, and which I don't care for in the first place, but I heard so many good things about it that I wanted to give it a go, and I did enjoy the premise, the whole idea of the time travel and with the phone, because I of course grew up with landlines, and I thought it was a lot of fun. So language aside, I did enjoy the premise, and I thought it was a good book. And I'm glad I finally got finished with it. Now, in July, I also listened to The Red Pyramid on audiobook. I did really enjoy it. It's by Rick Riordan, and since I have already read or listened to all of Rick Riordan's other series and books, I wanted to pick this up. I am going to give this, I've said this before, but I'm going to give this a read in the physical book since I own it, because I feel like I wasn't paying close enough attention, and I didn't get as much out of it as I think I should have. So, because I think it's probably a really good series, and I need to just read it and give it my full concentration, because I definitely want to read this series, and I've fully enjoyed all of Rick Riordan's other books. This is Skink No Surrender by Carl Hyacin. I've already filmed a full review of this because this is one of the Florida Sunshine State Young Reader Award nominees, and so I won't talk about it much now. But my daughter and I listened to this on audio, and we both thoroughly enjoyed it. So just look for that review coming up very soon. Another middle grade book that I listened to, this cover's not much to look at, but it's Gregor and the Marks of Secret by Suzanne Collins. This is the fourth in the Underland Chronicles. I won't go into much details about this book because it's the fourth in a series. This is about Gregor, who is a boy from New York City who finds his way underground and discovers an entire world underground. It's a really good fantasy series. I have thoroughly enjoyed these. My husband and I both have listened to these on audio, and our daughter, who's 11, has also read the entire series and really, really liked it. She's also read Hunger Games, and so we all agree that this is an excellent series. So I definitely recommend that you pick it up. Usually for my book club at the library, I'm not crazy about reading a lot of them. They're usually books like literary fiction type books that I really just kind of force myself to read them to broaden my horizons. And usually if they're available on audio, I get them on audio so that I don't really have to invest a lot of sit-down time. I can listen to them while I'm washing dishes or whatever. So this was one I was particularly glad that I did not waste time reading. In fact, the parts that I missed on audio, I didn't care enough to go back and hear what I missed because I didn't like this book. This is The Widower's Tale by Julia Glass. This was for the July book club, and interestingly enough, when I usually find myself swimming upstream, if I like something, if I don't like something, usually everyone else in my book club, they like it anyway. This one, I was totally validated because no one else who came that month liked it either. So I was glad. It is, part of the problem I had with it is you would assume from the title that it's all going to be from the perspective of a widower. Well, it's not. Only about a third of it is. And on the audio, and I believe in the physical book, when it switches perspectives, it doesn't really indicate that. The other ladies told me the same thing, that the chapter headings did not indicate when it was switching perspectives, and you just had to kind of figure it out for yourself. And the other perspectives really didn't have anything to do with the widower. It all kind of tied up together at the end, I think, but you really have a difficult time seeing how that's going to happen. And the things that happened were just not that interesting. I did not find any characters that I identified with. I didn't find them really likable, and as I said before, when I was listening to it, if I got distracted to something else and brought my attention back around to it, I didn't care enough about it to rewind back and hear what I missed. I just wanted to get through it. So anyway, enough of that. For August, we read The Year of Wonders by Geraldine Brooks. I did enjoy this a little bit more. This is historical fiction. It's about the plague set in 1666. I have to say, though, that even though the book overall was more enjoyable, I was disappointed with some of the character choices that were made in the book at the end. You want them, and I've mentioned this in other videos, you want your heroes, you want your main characters to be heroes and to do what's right. And when it all comes full circle and they end up making some poor life choices in the end, it's disappointing. But overall, it was a heart-wrenching book. There was a lot of death and a lot of vivid descriptions of the things that happened to them, the people that had the plague. So it's not for a weak stomach, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it unless you just like that sort of literary fiction that's set in that kind of a time frame. Now our librarian said she loved it. So it's really just about what you like to read. So I'm not saying this is a bad book. I was one of the few that really didn't enjoy it particularly. So, and the reasons I didn't like it weren't necessarily why anyone else wouldn't like it. So it just wasn't my thing, really. And now the audiobook that I just finished up for September, though, I will show it in my next wrap-up, but it was called 1,000 White Women, and I did actually kind of enjoy it. The funny thing is, I looked it up on Goodreads before I started it, and I had a hard time finding a good review. I mean, the reviews were scathing, and I thought, well, maybe I won't even read it. But I thought, well, I'll listen to the first disc and just see if I like it. I didn't hate it. I think because I didn't take it too seriously, and because I didn't expect to like it, that I got all the way through it, and I thought it was pretty decent. I'll tell you more about it next month, because I don't have it. I had to return it to the library, and so I'm not going to talk about it this month. For my August TBR, I mentioned a couple of TBWs that I had. One of those was Christie. Now, I read the book Christie for TBR Takedown, and I have recently watched the movie adaptation, and I really, really enjoyed it. I would say if you enjoy Little House on the Prairie, or if you enjoy Anne of Green Gables, that you would probably enjoy this. It's set in the Smoky Mountains, and it's about a 19-year-old girl who goes to a mission school to teach, and I thought it was very, very good. It's very heartwarming and enjoyable. I have talked about it already, the book, on my in my wrap-up, but I recommend this. Another thing I mentioned on my mid-August reads video was that my husband had checked out Game of Thrones from the library, and I thought I might sit down and watch it with him. I did watch one episode, and I will not be watching Game of Thrones. It is not for me. And if the books are anything like the TV series, then I have no plans to read them either. So I just wanted to respond to that, because when I mentioned in my video that I was going to be watching that, I had a couple of comments that to the effect of, you're going to watch Game of Thrones? Well, I didn't really think about the fact that, since it's HBO, it probably would have some content that I'm not a fan of. But I mean, it was just so over the top. I really was sick to my stomach just after watching one episode, and I just couldn't go on anymore, and it's not my kind of thing. So I don't hate anyone for liking it. I mean, you could certainly like it, and we could still be friends, but I'm just not going to watch it. So anyway, just wanted to mention that since it had been commented on. And meanwhile, a TV show I did just recently see that I guess was a summer series and is picked up for the fall is Fresh Off the Boat. Oh my goodness, that's my new favorite show, and I will be watching that. So if you haven't seen it, it's hilarious. I think it's on ABC, so check that out. For September, I have, as far as what I'm reading for September, I'm reading the Sunshine State Young Reader Award nominees, and I am over half done with those. Then on audio, I am listening to The City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. It's book 3 in the Mortal Instruments series. And then I also started this with my daughter. She took the physical copy to school today. We have listened to a little bit of this on audio, and so I'm going to finish it out on audio, and she's going to finish it out in physical book. This is for her teen book club for this month. It's called Seeker by Arwen Ellis Dayton, and it is a dystopian, YA dystopian series, I believe. So that's it for my July and August wrap-ups. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.